We are at the Cathedral Monreale, which is unbelievable. It's in little town Monreale outside of Palermo. And I really wanted you to see it because it's it's a UNESCO site. It's just a gorgeous thing. But it's really important for our purposes for 2 points. First, that the mosaic tiles, which is such a uniquely Sicilian thing, are probably the best in the world, or in Sicily, at least that's what I'm told. And it really is gorgeous. I mean, you step in and every inch of this place is decorated and golden, and when the light comes through the church windows, it just shimmers, and it's really, really remarkable. In addition to just trying to imagine the feat of accomplishing this. Secondly, Sicily had a real significant time of Arab rule. In fact, Sicily prospered under Arab rule. And all of those influences, Arab influences, are throughout, and Norman influences. In other words, Sicily was colonized, but also it takes from all of those colonizers and keeps those influences. So it really is a blend, and unique place. You know, it looks different to me from places in Italy because of these influences that it keeps and makes its own, which is really so remarkably Sicilian. And this is just an amazing place. I just wanted you to see it. That is so cool. I hope you like that. Was your little trip to the cathedral at Monreale. And I wanted to take a moment just to talk about that because, you know, it's really, really unique. If unique can be, you can have a superlative of unique, it's really unique. If you've been to Europe, if you're lucky enough to tour anywhere, you see a lot of churches. There's a lot of churches. And, you know, I'm going to just go on a limb and say sometimes they look a little bit alike. But this cathedral is really, really special. As I said in the video, it's a UNESCO heritage site. What does that mean? Well, UNESCO has designated certain sites around the world as being magnificent, culturally important, historically significant. It's not easy to qualify as that. And when you go to this cathedral, which I'm going to show you pictures of, and which you saw a little in the video, you really see why. And I think a little bit it's going to embody Sicily for me, and maybe for you. Tonight we're going to learn the word Byzantine, because Sicily, if you've been to Italy, there's a great quote by Goethe, which I'm trying to impress you. But he said something like, you know, if you haven't been to Sicily, you haven't seen Italy. It's Italy and Sicily are two different things. Sicily is really unique. It has a history of being colonized. It's in the middle of the ocean. It was along all these trade routes: Arabs, Normans, Greeks, Romans, Bourbons. And during Arab rule it's really significant, as I pointed out in there. A really important time where Sicily flourished. Monreale is this very small hilltop town off the beaten path outside of Palermo, which is the capital. And when you're there, you can see elevation. I'll show you a picture in a minute. And you are really looking down on the city, but here is this cathedral in the middle of nowhere, a designated site, and everything about it is Byzantine. What does Byzantine mean? It actually relates to a time period from Istanbul, but the colloquial meaning, what I want you to sort of see and understand, these are all pictures I took there. You can't even believe this mosaic tile, how it shimmers, how it catches the sun. It blazes. You're in the middle of a church and you see blazing gold, and you can't even believe it. We stood there and waited for it to come, and you can't really get it in the picture, but you can get a little of it. And what Byzantine, the effect of Byzantine is kind of Arab and different. And also, I guess what I want to say to you is busy. Byzantine is busy. I just thought of that. I don't know how intellectual that is, but every square inch of this cathedral is covered. Ornate doesn't begin to describe it. If there's a crucifix, it looks like this. It's marble, it's alabaster, it's cloisonné, it's inlaid, it's every single thing you can imagine layered on top of each other. And then there'll be this, and then there's jewels, and then there's all kinds of carving. This is in just a little side room. And by the way, underneath this is this guy. He's lying down. Here's more. Look at this is the bottom of this wall. Do you see what I mean? Everything is going on. There is not one square inch of this cathedral that is not covered with something gorgeous and decorative of floret, something like that. Sometimes here's the floor, perfect example, right? These angular kind of shapes. It's very Byzantine. It's very, it doesn't look like St. Peter's. It's different. It's unique. It's uniquely Sicilian. And you'll see all these different, there's not just one kind of marble. There's 4 kinds of marbles. Nothing is really good enough. And there's kind of whimsical stuff like this. Here's a little angel hanging around on a rope. Why? God knows. Here's another guy. Look at this guy. He's just kind of like funny and crazy and a little bit eccentric. Also great. Even the tapestries. There were curtains, and I don't even know if this is upside down. Don't know if it matters. But you see like beaded and silk, and then there's needlepoint. I'm a needle pointer. Maybe you guys are needle pointers, or you do kind of yarn crafts. There's every kind of stitch. There's not just 3 stitches, there's 33 stitches, and they're just getting warmed up. Kind of great. To me, you never get bored with it. It's like if you're wearing a necklace and then you're going to pair earrings and then you're going to put on another necklace, like Coco Chanel always said, take something off. Byzantine doesn't take anything off. Byzantine is going to put things on. And then I thought this was really cool for you to see because the materials are so unique. This is alabaster. I have never seen alabaster before. You hear like skin like alabaster or whatever. You try to imagine what that color is like. But the translucence and all of these carvings in this church play with that. Like the marbles are different colors and different densities. And then there'll be all of a sudden a statue of pure alabaster. You can't even imagine somebody carved that, much less back then. This cathedral at Monreale dates from 1100. And then there's incredible things like reliquaries, and I'm not going to get ahead of myself because that figures into loyalty pretty big. But a reliquary is a place where relics are kept, which is ashes of different saints or rulers. This is a reliquary that is in the cathedral that is of, allegedly, some ashes from Louis XIV. Right there in some incredibly ornate silver reliquary with a portrait. And then there's this, and then there's all things. And the other thing we did, which is just kind of fun, and I guess I'm showing you because I want credit, because I am afraid of heights. But this cathedral said there's a walkway, which is way high in the sky. Now imagine, this thing is on a mountaintop to start with. And then I was with Laura, my bestie and researcher, right? So we're running around together and she's like, let's go on the walkway. And I'm like, how about we don't go on the walkway? But we went on the walkway. You go through little tunnels like this, which are scary. And you can see there weren't a lot of other people around. I mean, it was during the pandemic. There weren't that many people. And the more you go on this walkway and on the scary walkways and the scary hallways, there's no one at all. We're the only people. I'm like, oh my God, please. No, this is you walk right next to the dome of the thing and you see this walkway, which is way high in the sky. Here you are above the roof. Now I'll tell you the funny part, which is that we walk along. We're the only 2 people, me and her. Then there's a couple, a man and a woman, coming in the other direction. We see them. I look at this guy. I'm like, where are you from? He says, Jersey. Okay, so here you are, off the beaten track, the middle of nowhere, outside of Palermo, somewhere in the clouds, and you meet somebody from New Jersey. I don't think it gets better than that. So that's sort of what Monreale is about. And that's Byzantine. And you see Byzantine all over Sicily. And I really wanted to point it out because I think it is so unique to Sicily and it does figure into the book. So the other thing, let me think what am I doing next? I guess what I'm going to do next is segue into other author spotlight. I don't know what to call this, but I don't know if you've seen the other videos, and you don't have to have seen them. You can watch them all individually or not, whatever, depending on if you have a life. But what I like to do in these videos is talk a little about how loyalty got written and a little bit about the book business. And so, here's what happens. When you're me, you write books, you love books. These are only my signed books behind me, not even unsigned books. And for years, there's authors I've read over and over and over again. They're my go-to authors. Nelson DeMille is one of them. I am sure you know who Nelson DeMille is. I hope you have read him. If you here's just my signed stack. Ready? Be ready, because I'm going to drop these. This is my signed stack of Nelson DeMille. I love Nelson DeMille. I think he defies genre. He just writes terrific novels that move fast. They're rich with history. They're rich with pacing and characterization. I think all of his characterizations, especially John Corey, who is in his newest book, The Maze. Ta-da. I love John Corey. He's one of my favorite Nelson characters. And he's, he was with the Joint Terrorism Task Force, but he's got a heart and he falls in and out of love. I've bought a bunch of copies of The Maze to give to my girlfriends because we are all Nelson DeMille freaks. But I think if you haven't read him, you should give him a try, because I think if you like my books, you'll love his books. And he's even written one called Cathedral. And he's even written one, The Gold Coast was one of my favorite books of his. It's set in Long Island, where he's from, on the North Shore. And it deals with like class and murder and crime. And he has a really lovable mafia don. And I never forgot that book, because he really took a villain and humanized him and made him real and great. And there's someone saying, Julianne just started The Maze. Love DeMille. I agree. I love Nelson DeMille. And by the way, I've met him and he is a lovely, lovely person. Why am I talking about Nelson DeMille? Because when I came time to kind of put loyalty into the world, I wrote him an email. I said, Nelson, I said Nelson like we're buds, but I said, I am a huge fan of yours. And I wonder if you would read this galley, and if you like it, would you say something? Say what you think. And he said, absolutely, which is, first off, super nice, because he's a busy guy. Let me read to you what he said about loyalty, because I'm so honored by his comment. He said, I haven't read a story set in Sicily that was this good since Giuseppe de Lampedusa's amazing novel, The Leopard. That's an amazing thing to say, because that's the novel of Sicily. The reader knows when an author's heart is in their writing, and Lisa Scottolini's heart and soul is in loyalty. That's true. That is actually true. Then he continues, historical fiction, when it's good, is a time machine, carrying us back to a vanished world that we inhabit for a while. Loyalty does that and more. It's a magic carpet ride that will transform us and stay with us. A beautifully written tale, wonderfully told by a master storyteller. Well, okay, thank you so much, Nelson. I am so honored by your words. We all love books here, and that's why I love that you're here. And I love books because they connect people. And I think when you find an author that you love, you know something about that author's soul. And I love meeting other people who love that author. I love that you guys, this is true, Carol Paris, you love that author. I love that author. We are all connected, even though we haven't all met. Very few of us even met, but we're connected from Nelson books, from my books, from books we love, and we celebrate. So I am so grateful to Nelson, who is terrific. As I say, get a copy of The Maze if you haven't read already. John Corey is a sensational character. I think Nelson, what's so good about Nelson DeMille is he writes male characters that are strong, but they have heart. They're not like toxic, and they're always in love. It's really nice. The Gold Coast had a husband and wife that was really in love. Like, if I had a marriage as good as the Gold Coast, I would still be married. And John Corey, he's always, and the women that he writes about are really fully realized women. They're strong, they're likable, they have flaws, but they're real. They're not like a cardboard cutout, and they're not secondary. So I am very, very honored. I love Nelson's books, and I love what he said about loyalty. I am so honored by it. Now we're going to segue to the prize part of our show. I decided I want to spend more time on these prizes because I want to tell you, first off, they're great. And second off, I picked them and I bought them for you for a reason, which is that they're emblematic of Sicily. And tonight is a really good example. And it actually figures into the Cathedral Monreale, because right around the cathedral there was an amazing little Majolica shop. Whoops, all the pictures will be upside down, but this was the wall there. Sicily is known for this incredible pottery, this incredible painted pottery. It's like Byzantine stuff. It's not Byzantine, but it's colorful. They're not shy. It has a lot of life in it. It has a lot of passion in it. All the things that we love about Italians and Sicilians are in the pottery. Like, there's always a lot of colors. And I kind of love that. The things are, look at this great stuff. This was in a shop right across from the cathedral. I was so in love with it. There's these heads, which if you're watching HBO's The White Lotus, which is filmed in Sicily at the hotel I stayed at, it's just incredible. But look at the color and the expression. I, of course, had to buy something at the shop. Well, I bought a lot of stuff, but this like incredible handmade, hand-fired trivet, which will be on my table on Thanksgiving. I am very, very grateful to you for coming to these things. It's really, I didn't know if it was going to be a good thing. I like doing it. I want to be able to take you to Sicily since I'm not sure you're going to get there anytime soon and sort of show you through my eyes little things about it that I think are interesting or fun or cool. And when you do read the book, you'll see how they inform the book, but they're really just a way to transport you to a place just for a little while on a Monday night, take you away from all your Thanksgiving preparations or all the other stuff you're doing and worried about. And I guess I just want to say vis-a-vis Thanksgiving, and it's great that my daughter Francesca is here. We are so grateful for you. We are so thankful for you. When we have dinner together, sometimes we raise a toast to all of our readers because we just don't have the job without you. And she is writing a novel. She's written her first novel. She's working on her second. But I write every single book thinking, what will the reader think of this part? What will they like this part? Will they laugh at this part? Will they cry at this part? I am always writing with you in mind. And so this Thanksgiving, I am very grateful for your loyalty. And I mean that. Loyalty has a lot of forms in this book and in the world. But I regard myself as a very loyal person. And I think you guys are really loyal. Your loyalty is shown every time you come to this thing and all myriad out of other ways. And I'll always show it to you. So this Thanksgiving, I'm very, very grateful for you. Thank you very, very much. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. And I'll see you next Monday night and we'll have more fun. Thank you again very much for coming. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.